So NBC5 investigates. This man here in the video is about to get shot by a police officer. Was it a home invasion, as police allege, or just someone in the wrong building? We'll tell you what we found out.
Now NBC5 investigates a case where an off-duty Chicago police officer shot a man he said was attempting to break into his home.
There's a new federal lawsuit that argues surveillance video from the scene tells a very different story. The man survived the shooting, but we caution you, the video is tough to watch. Here's Phil Rogers.
Someone tried to break into our house. My husband just shot someone.
The Chicago police version of this incident, which happened March 31st of last year,
the person he shot still conscious and breathing?
was that off-duty officer Ewan Smith shot a man named Jose Mendoza during an attempted home invasion at the officer's northwest side apartment.
He knocked on my door. As I approached to open it, he pushed it in, and I tried to close it, and he just forced his way in. I didn't know.
Mendoza was charged with burglary, felony home invasion, and criminal trespass. But in a new federal lawsuit, he and his attorney insist that's not what happened.
This was not a break-in. It was not a home invasion. And to characterize it as such is absolutely absurd.
Mendoza's attorney, Thomas Glasgow, says when his client entered the building at 1:13 a.m., he was merely attempting to crash at a friend's place after a night of drinking and had simply found the wrong apartment. Indeed, video from the building's security camera suggests Mendoza was so intoxicated he could barely stand up when he entered the vestibule, at one point sitting down on the stairs. In fact, the timestamp indicates it was a full 9 minutes before he actually climbed the stairs and stood in front of the officer's door. After about 30 seconds, he sits down on the floor. But watch closely. You see the light change as the door opens. Mendoza stands up and he's almost immediately shot, slumping to the floor with a bullet wound to the head.
His back was to the door when the officer opened the door, and he was sitting on the ground. When the officer opened the door, he stood up, and as he stood up, the officer shot him in the head.
For a full 6 minutes after Mendoza is shot, we see him laying in the hallway, at one point miraculously even righting himself on the stairs, despite that head wound. Eventually, we see the officer for the first time, stepping over Mendoza to meet the first arriving officers, still carrying his service weapon and now displaying his badge.
It was very painful to see these videos.
Rachel Mendoza says due to COVID protocols at Cook County Jail, she has seen her son only once since the shooting, which took the sight from one eye where the bullet passed through.
I'm a woman of faith, and I say everything is going to be okay. You have a strong mother, and I'm going to fight for you no matter what it takes.
Officer Smith's official version of events was that he shot Mendoza as he was forcing himself into the officer's apartment.
Did he have a weapon on him?
The fact that my client was shot for no other reason than being drunk is something that is incredibly disturbing.
For nearly a year, Mendoza has been held without bond at Cook County Jail. Now, through his attorney, he's filed a federal civil rights complaint against the officer and the city, noting that he was unarmed and arguing that he never made any aggressive move toward the officer before he was shot.
If this was you or me that committed the acts that the police officer committed, we'd probably be sitting in jail with a no bond hold for an attempt murder. You can't just open your front door and shoot somebody in the head.
We reached out to the officer's attorney but received no response. As is standard procedure, the city says he was relieved of police powers. COPA's investigation of the shooting continues. Phil Rogers, NBC5 Investigates.